It is a gorgeous day here at San Diego Market Movers Question of the Week, and I'm super excited to have Quynh Vu joining me. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I love having you. So, I want to talk about estimates online and how reliable they are for online home valuations, such as Zillow, Redfin, Trulia. Maybe you can just give us your opinion on how reliable those sources are.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question because so many people have like a Redfin app, a Zillow app, a Realtor.com app on their phone. That's the quickest way for them to kind of look and see, hey, how much do they think their house is actually worth? And I think it's a tricky question because people look at that number and they're like, oh, hey, how come it's so different? If that's really the right number, how come it's so different between the 3 different websites? And when anyone is looking at the actual value of their house, I always tell them like, hey, just ask me. What I can do is I can run a report. I can look and see what are the homes that sold near you and within like a 1-mile radius of your house, just to make sure that when we're looking at comparable homes that we actually look for something that's close to you. The reason that's important is if you're selling a house or if you're buying a house, a lot of times you're going to be getting an appraisal. And just because something is in the same zip code as you and it's sold doesn't necessarily mean that appraiser is going to include that home as a comparative home value to yours. So if you have something like, say, if you're living in a townhome community or you're living in a neighborhood where there's a model match, like that house down the street from you is the exact same model as yours, they're going to weigh that a lot higher than something that's in the same zip code, maybe 1.5 miles or 2 miles away. So those are some of the things that as a realtor, like when I'm doing an evaluation, I'll take a look at. But on Zillow and Redfin, sometimes it's like accurate, but sometimes it's not. So I always tell people, hey, let's do a really deep dive and make sure we look at those numbers for you, because I don't want people to think like, hey, your house is worth this much, and if we go to market so much higher, we're not going to be able to bring in as many people to look at it. So looking at that is important. The other thing I do when I'm doing a home evaluation for my clients is I also look at things that are active as well as pending. And even though the appraiser's not looking at those values to determine their cost, it just kind of shows you the trends of the market. And looking at what's active and what goes pending, you can kind of guide your buyers to kind of know like, hey, even though the comps show this is how much it's the last house sold in this neighborhood, this is what other homes that are very similar that are going to market. So that way they kind of put in a price that's very competitive. So I would say sometimes it's correct, sometimes it's not, but like working with an actual agent, we can kind of work through those numbers for you and really make sure that we're creating a comprehensive value for your house that's more likely to be real.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate your valued opinion and joining us at San Diego Market Movers Question of the Week.
Thank you.